Okay. Good evening, everyone. Uh, Welcome to one more webinar by Petition Group people, citizens. It's a group of activists who are striving for better governance, who are striving for transparency and accountability. We have very dedicated people as our members who are doing their best in best possible manner to interact with the authorities, to raise up issues which concern everyone, the general public, in the larger interest. So today's topic, as you may be aware, is on common malpractices indulged by the PIO and the other officers of connected with the right to information system. Initially, uh, advocate the speaker, Advocate Nazir Jagirdar, would give us a talk on this, the common experiences of his on how these officers uh, evade giving information to you, how they misuse the RTI Act to deny information for obvious reasons, as you know very well. So he will give us that so that we are alert about it, and we can preempt their efforts to deny information and sabotage the act. And after that, of course, everyone, as far as possible, put your queries on it. Our admin, Mr. Neeraj Patat, will pick up those questions. Please make it brief and as precise as possible, so that he doesn't have to sift through it and refine it and all that, because he has his own limitations and he can't keep doing all those things. So please make it brief and put your queries. If you can't, then of course we'll unmute you in between as we go along during the question answer session, and Advocate Jagirdar will reply to your queries. All right. And uh, all right. So Nazirji, please take over.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. A very good evening. No, I would like to start with actually the biggest apprehension that I have is, and the biggest fear, and what is coming up is the delay in the hearings. Now, after an application, things are not being heard even after 1 year, 1.5 year. So it is going in a very dangerous direction, and therefore we'll have to work together for this. Because now, if something like a right to information, if it is taking 1.5 years to come on board to be heard, the matter itself becomes infructuous, or it loses its steam. Any person or an activist who is trying to make an application and get information, if it is being heard under 1.5 years or 1 year, it is going to be very difficult. And I'm of the opinion that any kind of activism, is virtually impossible, is actually impossible without the Right to Information Act in action. So whatever activism right now we all are doing, or as individuals when we want some information, it is this act which is the foundation, I would say, today of all activism. And if you want to bring about any change in governance, anything good to happen in society, it is this act. So we'll have to work very hard in this direction, and for that, of course, we'll have to convey our feelings to the state government so that the vacancies are filled. And of course, more and more virtual hearings are taken up by the commission. Now recently, I think the last week, Supreme Court has served notices to 18 states regarding the hybrid hearings or virtual hearings. So for state information commissions, it should be a regular proposition. It should be something very regular, and all hearings should be taken virtually. It will be very convenient for everyone, because the geographical area within every bench of the commission is quite large. The number of people are also more. So this is one very great concern. It should not go the way which our judicial system has gone, because here we cannot afford it. Once there is a delay, then the matters become infructuous. It becomes difficult to pursue. There is ample scope for the authorities to play mischief, fiddle with the records, etc., etc. So there are so many possibilities. So delay in disposing of the appeals is not a very good sign. Delay of 1.5 years. Secondly, what is not very clear is the criteria that is being used for taking up the hearings. Very unusually, I had put some RTIs with the State Information Commission, and the State Information Commission itself has given evasive replies. Again, that is cause for concern. These RTIs with respect to the software that they have and the way they manage data, and how many complaints, how many second appeals, how many second appeals rejected on grounds of non-maintainability, etc., etc. But they gave an evasive reply, and then also not in time. Then I got the reply very delayed. Then I filed the first appeal, and they responded to the first appeal. But this is the state with the State Information Commission itself. So matters are really serious. This is with respect to the commission. And whether complaints to the commission are being dealt with or not, that's another big issue, or they just go into the bin because no action seems to be coming up. There are quite a few complaints against the way the commission is being handled. One more important aspect, a legal aspect, is many of the appeals, second appeals and complaints are being rejected by the desk officers and the deputy secretaries under their signature. Now, these are actually matters where there is judicial application of mind, and somebody has come to a conclusion that your particular matter is non-maintainable for legal reasons. There are precedents cited, and these orders are not signed by the commissioner himself, but by the desk officer or deputy secretary. Now, legally speaking, whatever law I know, this kind of sub-delegation of quasi-judicial statutory powers is impermissible, because it is not a mere notice. Usually the notices are signed by the desk officer, etc., the subordinate staff. But where there is judicial application mind, because it is a quasi-judicial process which involves the administrative part and the judicial part. So when there is a notice, that's an administrative part. But when it comes to actually the judicial application of mind, when it's an order of rejection, by no stretch of imagination, this could be signed or this should be signed by a desk officer of a deputy secretary. So the learned commissioner should be taking the responsibility of this rejection. Secondly, very importantly, again, not very healthy sign that these are rejected without giving the opportunity for the party to be heard. So the appellant or complainant, he is not given opportunity. This is against principles of natural justice. Being a statutory quasi-judicial proceedings and process, this cannot be allowed. This should not have been allowed, but unfortunately, this is continuing. And despite complaints, I myself complained regarding this trend, but there doesn't seem to be something good coming up. So the learned commissioners and the State Information Commission should realize that this is not permissible. Secondly, if they make a policy decision of not allowing a particular class of appeals or a particular type of appeal or a particular type of complaint, then they should be putting up this wide notifications so that people are made aware that they are not supposed to go this way, they have to go that way, but that also is not being done. This was precisely the reason why I put that RTO, to get some information the way they are handling these matters. So there is a lot of non-transparency as far as this process goes. So against principle of natural justice, that is not acceptable by any standards. So therefore, this is what we see here, or what my perception is, that the commission is not taking things very seriously. That is, there's a question mark on effective administration of this very important right and a very important law. It's called as a sunshine law, and as I've already mentioned, it's the most important right now, considering the state of affairs of governance which we see all around us. So therefore, yes, this is a very important matter. Sub-delegation of constitutional power is impermissible. Not only that, ratification of such an order is also impermissible, and this is settled law. So at a point of time when somebody, an authority which does not have the authority of law to pass an order using quasi judicial powers, if it does at that time, then later on, retrospectively, the appropriate authority cannot ratify, because at that point of a time, that particular authority never had that authority, that cannot be ratified. So therefore, such orders is bad in law. They should not be given in the first place. And the learned commissioners and the State Information Commission should take this matter very seriously. Now, when I wanted to know that how many such orders were given or signed by the desk officer, rejection orders, mind you, rejection orders on the grounds of maintainability, then there is total non-transparency. They say that we do not segregate, we do not have the record. So such kind of evasive replies and not keeping of data on the part of State Information Commission raises serious questions. Because whatever we see around us, the quasi-judicial authorities are behaving in a very high-handed manner, which with least consideration for the citizens who want to avail their right, because that's not a favor, that's their right. So whatever quasi-judicial statutory authorities are created, they're bound to go by the law. So principles of natural justice, they have to be followed. Sub-delegation, strict no. It cannot be, because it totally destroys the rights of the particular applicant. And this is very serious. Why? Because this order can only be challenged before the Honorable High Court. No, expecting citizens to approach the High Court for all these kinds of matters is just not it. It cannot happen. They don't have the resources, and we know that the unfortunate fact of judicial delays. And the quasi-judicial authorities, unfortunately, it seems they're getting emboldened by the judicial delay part, and all sorts of, which I should call legal nonsense, is committed without any check. So it is our duty now to bring it to the notice of the state government, the commission, that such practices are stopped immediately. Next, we go on to the one more thing I would like to point out here is regarding why should this happen, and why should we feel, why is this perception that the commissioners, the learned commissioners, are very soft on the public information officers. Many times, unfortunately, I've seen as if the commission is advocating for the public information officers. That's again not a very good sign. So the basic reason, again, I would point out that why do we have this feeling? Whether the commissioners are biased or unbiased, but we have this fear. Precisely, this is called as apprehension of bias. Why do we have this apprehension of bias? We have this apprehension of bias because the learned commissioners, almost all of them in Maharashtra state, are ex-bureaucrats. They were part of this same administrative system against which we are filing complaints for not disclosing information. For example, if somebody was a chief secretary or any on a very important post in the state, and post retirement that person becomes a RTI commissioner, I would say that brings in this inherent bias and a reason for apprehension of bias and even conflict of interest. Suppose in the last 5 years he has been in he's a chief secretary of the state. That means he was the administrative head of the entire state of Maharashtra. So if such a person comes, then if there are matters related to when he was in at that post, well, definitely there would be a apprehension of bias is justified, and that would amount to conflict of interest. Therefore, I once again stress, I've said this many times, and also on the social media, etc. I've tried to give this idea that apart from ex-bureaucrats, others should also be appointed as commissioners. legally speaking, apprehension of bias, there are, it is accepted, well settled law that if there is an apprehension of bias, then those proceedings get vitiated, void ab initio. So considering this is what I feel, that this may be, this apprehension of bias there because there's a reason for this apprehension of bias, and if this reason is justified, then such officers should not be appointed as commissioners, because our perception is when we go, we expect that we are not going to get justice. Yes, because underlying all these procedures is also a system of justice. So that is about the commission and commissioner. Then let's come to the public information officers. Now, because of the delay, because of arbitrary orders, because of this apprehension of bias, what is seen is the public information officers are getting emboldened day by day for non-disclosure. Most of the times we hear that the public information officer does not even reply in given time. This is increasing. They're not even given, but there's no data. Again, there's no data. So, but it is increasing. That's the perception. I have experienced it myself. In 30 days, they are not responding. Even prior to the this COVID pandemic that was happening, and the trend is increasing. So they do not reply, and when they do not reply, the first appeal is filed. And when the first appeal is filed, at that time the PIO comes with some kind of a frivolous reply. So here in this case, I can only advise what the logical thing to do is, when within 30 days, if the information is not given, then it's better to serve him a notice that you have not given this information within the prescribed time limit, and this is violation of the provisions of the act. So if even by mistake or whatever the reason for he has not given you the reply, he should be replying. If after that, if is not, then it is at his own risk. Then you can file a first appeal. So that is one procedure I think which we should follow, that give him a notice, because that would be a check on him. So he knows now what he has to do. Either he has to give information or deny information, or if he is very arrogant, adamant, doesn't fear the law, then he will remain silent. So in the first appeal, again, we can then go for the first appeal, and during the first appeal, usually the PIO comes with some reasons for denial. They should be under exemptions, the exemption clause of section 8 or 9. Otherwise, you cannot refuse. That we all are aware. Now, in the first appellate authority, most of the time, now the problem, again, I'm also pointing out the problems. There are certain systemic problems, also some flaws, some weaknesses of this law, where we are not having any control, or we feel that things are not happening the way it should be. So the first appellate authority should be asking for the explanation from the public information officer by giving him a notice. Also, one practice that I also have pointed out in my last lecture is, it is always better to give an advance copy of your first appeal to the PIO, so that again he gets one more chance to come up with a reply. Even if he wants to deny, he has a discretion to deny, but he is bound by law to give reasons for that denial. So he'll have one more chance when you give him a copy of the first appeal. Then after that, he'll have no excuses. With the first appeal, yes, that should be, he should be giving a reason, and that particular point of time when they during the first appeal, they do come up with some reasons of denial, and the first appellate authority then passes the order accordingly. Now the problem here, again, we see the systemic problem that I see, or a foundational error in framing the law is, but it is again very difficult for alternative system. The first appellate authority itself is a higher officer, and his office is higher than that of the public information officer. So if there is any, again comes the question of inherent bias, conflict of interest. So if the first appellate authority himself has something against disclosure of this information, then you're bound to come with a hurdle over here. Anyway, even if the first appeal authority has to pass a reasoned order, then comes the problem that if the appeal is allowed, then what about the procurement of information? What about does he have the power to see that the information is actually given or not? Now here you will see that the first appellate authorities do not take any attempt or do not make any attempt to ensure that the information is given, because they feel they are not bound by law. There are various judgments here by various courts which have given some guidelines and etc. But then again, since it is not part of the law, they do not adhere by these kind of guidelines given by the various high courts, etc., etc. So they care a damn for it. And even by law, the quasi judicial authority, depending on case to case, may or may not go via precedent. So that is one thing. So they will not make any attempt. So even if they give an order to impart or to give information, and if the information is not given, it's good to once again give the first appellate authority a notice asking him to ensure that the information is given, because he is a higher authority. And the CC also can be given to the highest authority of that public authority. Therefore, now no officer remains which does not have the notice that such and such order is passed and such an information has to be given. So these are some of the holes that we can try to fill, but where the law is not clear and they are taking advantage of this kind of a situation. And of course, when the information is not given, even after first appeal order, then I've touched upon this issue. I will not repeat that, because the stand taken by the State Information Commission, Mumbai at least, is that if the first appeal order is in your favor, then you cannot go for a second appeal. That is the stand that has been taken. So if you have a favorable first appeal order, you can file a complaint, but you can't go for a second appeal. The problem here is, if you don't file a second appeal, then you cannot give an order for getting information, because under section 18, order to give information cannot be given. So only if the first appeal order is not in your favor, you can challenge that. That is the position which only, whatever I know, is the State Information Commission, Bruhan Mumbai, has taken. The other data is not available. That's precisely the reason why I put this RTI, but I've not given any data, because they say they are not segregating data, they are not keeping data. Data is the key in any democracy, and what we see each day is we are not getting information, we are not getting data, and that's what this law is all about. So all sorts of reasons are given, and I've already told you there's a bias at the first appellate level as well as the second appeal. These are intrinsic problems with the framing of the law as well as the appointment of the learned commissioners. So this is what initially, or what I'll see, is the current problems that I feel and I have put before you. Now, very interestingly, when we study when we have case studies, we'll know in a better way some of the problems. Now, one case, one of our group members, he had asked to the police the CCTV footage. This matter came up before the second appeal, and the second appellate, the learned commissioner gave an order. I'll just read the order, what it says. तर जनमाहिती अधिकारी यांनी 2 ते 3 जून 2019 दरम्यानचे उपलब्ध सीसीटीव्ही फुटेज इंटू ब्रॅकेट फक्त अपिलार्थी संबंधी क्लिप अपिलार्थींना शुल्क आकारून पुरवावे. नाउ कम्स द इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट. व उपलब्ध नसेल तर त्याबाबतचे सुस्पष्ट उत्तर अपिलार्थींना द्यावे. नाउ दिस इज लाइक one part of the order is giving you do, second part is giving them a long rope. Okay, if you don't want to do, just tell him that you don't have the information. This kind of orders are very unusual, and you will see lot many such orders. Again, if we do together do some research, we'll come with very interesting orders. So you'll see that again in this same order, what the arguments that are stated here is या अपिलात संदर्भातील कागदपत्रांचे अवलोकन केल्यावर तसेच युक्तिवाद ऐकून घेतल्यानंतर आयोग या निष्कर्षावर येत आहे की सीसीटीव्ही फुटेज चे मागण्याचे कारण देणे आवश्यक आहे. नाउ दिस इज टोटली अगेन्स्ट द लॉ. वी ऑल नो इट्स लाइक दिस लॉ, द आरटीआई क्लियरली स्टेट्स, द लॉ स्टेट that no reason is to be given for the appellant or the applicant to why he needs that information. But here you will see that the learned commissioner himself has stated what he feels. He feels that reasons should have been given. Now the CC footage is the information which was sought, and this information itself, it was from the police station, and for some reasons, all these police matters, you cannot just reveal the reasons why you want the footage from a CCTV police station. It can be dangerous for that person, it can be life threatening for that person. So the commissioner here expecting that he should be disclosing the reason is unusual. I don't have words to since it is being recorded, then of course I have to be careful with my words. But again, I don't see any sense, legal sense in this, because it's totally against the law. If the commissioners are going to give such kind of orders, then that's why I always say that the RTI Act in Maharashtra state is in danger. So you will see that these kind of orders are passed, which should not be. Then in the same, in one breath, it is said that give the CCTV footage relating to the appellant. Now, how is that possible? There is no inspection given. If an inspection is given of the entire footage, then obviously there could have been the possibility of that, okay, I want this footage. But again, that is again also dangerous, because that will be a revelation of the intention of why the CCTV footage was sought. So it's a huge issue, the CCTV footage. Another interestingly is, when this first application with the police station was filed, another application was given to the police station to preserve the footage. Now, what the final outcome of this entire process, what has happened is, the police says that we have not preserved the footage, though there was a notice given. Now here you will see how the delay has come into play. Since the second appeal has come much after 1 year, now the police has the convenient reason for denying the information. If it had been earlier, then there was a possibility there where the commissioner could have given an interim order of preserving the footage. So you will see that how the law is playing here, how the delay is damaging the entire. So what is the outcome of all this? Of 1.5 years, he's not going to get the footage. Police is denying the footage, and the long rope is already given that if you do not have the information, then just tell him that you don't have the information. Now, if this is what is the outcome of the entire process of second appeal, then there are serious causes for concern for all of us. So that is one very interesting example. Then one more, all these have been given to me by the group members themselves. One order is good enough where there is an order for disciplinary inquiry, etc., etc. Now, one more interesting aspect that I found that in many orders, it's almost a trend where in the second appeal order, the explanation for not providing information is sought in the order, and it is said that if you don't give an explanation within 30 days, then we will have to take we'll have to pay the penalty. But here again, there is a legal anomaly. If you are giving a final order, and in that order, if you're stating and giving an opportunity or a period for the PIO to give an explanation in the next 30 days, then that is just not it. It's it should not be done. The final order, it could have been an interim order to provide the information, and then after getting an explanation from the PIO, a final order could be passed where the penalty could be levied. But you will not see this happening. This is bad practice. It is bad legal practice. This is just not justice. Because why I'm saying that is, once the order is passed, this explanation goes directly to the commission, and the appellant has no opportunity to refute that claim or put the facts straight. So therefore, the entire process becomes sort of a farce. So there should be an interim order to provide the information. If the learned commissioner feels that an opportunity is given for the explanation before passing a order of penalty, then a final order should be passed only after the explanation is given by the public information officer of why there was this delay or dereliction of duty on his part and whether it is justifiable. So you will see that again, this is one practice which should not be followed by any quasi-judicial authority, but unfortunately, this is being done. Therefore, again, here you will see there's a long rope given to the public information officer. Okay. One more very interesting matter is there were 24 appeals, and there was, and with the reasoning and all was similar, and the commission gave an order of penalty of 25,000 rupees. But there were 24 matters, and the penalty was given only in once. That is only of 25,000. That is only in one matter, which may not be applicable to the other 24 matters. I mean, under the RTI law, every matter is a separate matter, separate quasi-judicial matter. Therefore, if there were 24 applications where if it was, this was pulled together and decided by hearing, taking into consideration all the appeals which were similar in nature, then this penalty should have been levied for all the other matters. So the question is, the legal question again here is that if the matters are separate entities, separate applications, then the penalty also should have been given separately in each case. Now, these kind of orders embolden the public information officers and the public authorities. So these are some of the issues now I have just put before you. Now, the better thing to do would be some questions or doubts of whatever I have spoken till this time for around half an hour. What comes to your mind, any legality, any query, and where we can discuss and come to a conclusion. So Neeraj, I would say I will wind up my talk here, and I would like questions so that we can discuss in the light of whatever I've spoken, or any query that they have regarding the RTI Act or the entire process. So please come up with your questions, then we can have a discussion. That will be more exciting.
Right. Thank you, Advocate Nazir ji. Request everyone, whoever has the query, please raise your hand, or so that our admin will unmute you. Please be brief. Please be precise. Exactly, what law point about RTI Act do you wish to ask Advocate Nazir ji, so that everyone gets a chance to put forth their query, and Advocate Nazir ji to reply to them systematically. All right. So go ahead. I believe Cherian ji wishes to speak. Neeraj.
I'm audible?
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Cherian.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Well, it's about the delivery. I gave my first appeal application in the month of first week of February 2021.
Okay.
There was no reply. Then I gave a complaint to the State Information Commission sometime in the month of March. And this week I got a letter from the First Appellate Authority saying that because of COVID, he was not able to proceed with the hearing, and hearing will be during the second week of July. Should I attend the hearing?
See, now what has happened, you made an application, there was no reply, right?
Yeah.
Then what you did is you directly filed a complaint with the State Information Commission, right? And after that, you got the first appellate ka hearing ka notice, right?
That's it.
So you were procedurally wrong, right? So if you go for shortcut, this is bound to happen. That's the reason why I said that you do not get the information, give a notice to the PIO, and the copy of this notice can also be given to the first appellate and the highest public authority of that particular public
Copy
authority.
of the complaint is also given to the first appellate authority and the PIO.
Okay, so Simon, you also went to the commissioner, right? You have filed a complaint under Section 18, right?
Yeah.
Now the problem is if that Section 18 complaint happens, then it will be bypassing the first appellate procedure and penalty will be levied and you may not get the information. So therefore, suppose if it was not given, then what your concern is or your problem is the PIO also did not reply and the first appellate authority also did not reply within the prescribed period.
That's it.
The question is, after filing the first appeal, did you wait for 45 days?
Yes.
Okay, even after 45 days, the first appeal did not happen, right?
Yeah.
Then after that, did you give a reminder to the first appellate authority?
No.
So only thing is here again, see, it's a very unusual thing that if we go for the second appeal or the Section 18 complaint, obviously they get more time. Why? Delay is a problem here. Therefore, what should be our focus? Our focus should be to make the PIO reply or to make the first appellate authority answerable within the time. So it makes more sense to give them reminders rather than directly go for a 18 complaint or which is going to come up unfortunately after 1 to 1.5 years. And if they are banking on this, then that's the danger that I'm trying to point out. It is becoming a dangerous trend. So at this level, what we can do is the PIO should be given a notice. The first appellate you should wait for 45 days. After 45 days, you can again give that person a reminder, because why? We are interested in getting the information. This is nothing but administrative mischief they are indulging in because they know there is a delay. This has happened with the judicial system. Now it's happening with the RTI.
That there is a delay, they made a mention in the letter itself saying that because of COVID, they could not process it. I have given my second complaint only after sufficient 45 days time.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to explain. See, if you go, then you wait for your Section 18 complaint. Is there any other remedy right now? There's no other remedy. The problem is if the Section 18 complaint is taken after 1.5 years, they will say that we are only going to hear about whether penalty should be given or not given. We are not going to give you the information. So the entire process will go waste. COVID, they are citing this because they know there is right now nothing, no notification from the commission or any higher authority where they should be. And if they can cite this because they are administrative authority, they say they don't have staff, this, that. So finally, at least in this case of COVID, right now we are not having any remedy. The only thing is you can give a reminder to the first appellate authority. We are agitated, we are disturbed, but is there a remedy? Section 18 complaint is not going to be your remedy, because then you can't even file your second appeal. So you'll have to withdraw the second appeal, go for a, withdraw the complaint, go for a second appeal. But before that,
in the meantime, I gave another RTI application reframing my information in the demands.
Why the same information? Why you want to seek again through RTI? That's what you are trying to say.
Because I gave a complaint, I am sure that there will not be any remedy to get the information. So to get the information, so it's my interest.
They see, if you feel that since you filed a Section 18 complaint, have you given them the notice of the Section 18 complaint?
Yeah, copy is given.
A copy is given to them, right? And after that, you say that the first appellate authority has responded, right?
Yeah, that's why he gave complaint.
So if he has responded, then you go through the process of the first appellate authority, and if he gives you he may give an adverse order or a favorable order, right? So if he gives an adverse order, then you challenge it in the second appeal by withdrawing the complaint in the Section 18. And if he gives a favorable order, and if the information is not given, then you file a complaint in the Section 18. That is your solution. Okay.
So if I appear for the hearing automatically my complaint will be infectious, you know?
No, if you are appearing for the first appeal,
Huh.
then you withdraw your section 18 ka complaint.
Okay.
Because that doesn't make any sense. Why? If you already, because then they will say that you had filed a complaint that is dismissed.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Next.
Anyone else?
Sir, we have Linus Dilemma. I have unmuted him.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Linus here.
Yeah.
See, I file applications, and there are multiple times when they have replied, say, please pay 2 rupees for the reply. I promptly pay. Now, since it's Goa, I also add postage of 25 rupees, and I send it. They receive it. And the reply comes that we have no information. They could have written in the reply first thing itself, but information is not available. No? Can't I appeal and also ask for recovery of that money?
See, obviously, you can make an application for recovery of money. If you feel that is unjustified, it is not justifiable by law. If they're asking you under what, you ask them the law, under which law you're asking the money. Okay?
Right.
Cite something, na.
Okay.
It cannot be just arbitrary. So basically, it's a question of money. That's the only question, right? That
Yes.
they charge you some money for that.
Yeah.
So
See,
you
the
can
2 rupees is immaterial. I'm just saying they could have in the.
Yes, I know. I can
Yeah.
understand. It's not about 2 rupees.
Yes.
It's about why should they ask even 2 rupees? That is the
Yes.
question. Okay, so
Right.
you write for recovery, to the highest the officer of the public authority, and also to the first appellate authority.
Okay.
And you also in that ask for disciplinary action against that particular person if he is not stating the law, and you also give a notice to the PIO in that regard. So you
Okay.
cite me the law, or
Huh.
I'll have to take necessary action.
ठीक है. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks. Next.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes. Nasirji, namaste. Sir, as Cherenji just said, that after not receiving reply after filing the RTI, more than 30 days passed by, he said, I am aggravated, and he goes to and file his complaint under section 18. Simultaneously, if he puts another RTI of some adding few more questions, few more points, and placing another request of RTI, that he can go in appeal, right?
With the same subject matter or the
With
same
the same subject matter, because by the time in section 18 complaint would be heard, it will be 1 year later.
See, you've already sought some information. You're trying to say that that information was not provided in the prescribed time limit. Therefore, you're saying that can we file another RTI with the same subject matter, the same information, right?
Yes.
Now, what are the chances that in that will be replied to? So
See,
that cannot be a solution.
No, I got a point. Idea behind is, see, I going to first appeal also, that process is because I paid 2 fees, 10 rupees twice I have paid the charges. So I am asking under section 8, under my primary RTI application. When I file my RTI application, he's duty bound to reply in 30 days. He's not done it. So as per Act, if he's not given me reply in 30 days, he's bound to get penalty. So I filed an application under punishment.
But then your question is, now you're trying about a situation where there are 2 same or similar RTIs.
Correct.
Both are not being responded, and therefore
Correct.
the question is, hypothetical question is, in these both
One
matters,
case,
can he be reprimanded for both the RTIs?
See,
Is
no,
this
in
what you're trying to say?
in one case, I'm going for appeal. In second application, I'm going for complaint.
So what you're saying is you're filing
2 RTI application,
two
two
RTIs.
different dates.
So if
Correct.
in one case is not responding, you will
Yes.
find a complaint under section 18, right?
Yes.
In the second case, you're saying that you will file a first appeal,
Yes.
right? And you're treating this as 2 different RTI applications, right?
It is 2 different dates. It's 2 different
Yes.
fees. Yes.
Legally, there is nothing stopping you.
Correct.
Okay, there is nothing stopping you.
Mm.
Now, in the future course, what would be the stand taken by them during the second appeal or the first appeal? That would be dependent on what stand they take, and then it will be decided accordingly. So it is basically a question which normally has not come up till now before the State Information Commission, where 2 same RTIs has been treated differently by the applicant, and it has come up to the say second appellate authority, and what if a situation arises where in both the cases penalty has to be imposed, then whether that will be taken as two separate matters or whether that will be considered by the commission as the RTA applicant have actually filed only one application, the second application should be treated as null and void and no penalty for the purpose of penalty cannot be levied. That is the hypothetical answer. So basically right now, whatever you're doing, there is nothing stopping you. You can go in both the direction, and let's see interestingly what happens in that particular course that you have taken.
Okay, with the permission of all, I have one more question. That was my main question. This came up when Mr. Cherian asked this. See, BMC is one public authority, police is one public authority, Home Ministry is one public authority. See, whenever we write any application to any BMC official, he says this information is not available with me. I will forward to various wards. So under 6.3, he transferred to various wards. So in this course, some wards answers me, some wards do not reply me. Now, where do I go? I can't say that some ward has done the needful information, so I have half information. So in that case, I have to go as first appeal. So rather than, I had probably in your session or some session I had heard that BMC is one public authority. We have to say that you procure all the information and send it to me. How do I write this application? That
No, see,
BMC,
what stand we take is not important. What is their system is important. Okay.
What is the question now? Yes, sir.
Unless they themselves consider it as a one public authority, that is not the case. Okay. So ward wise, department wise, they are treating as separate public authorities, and wisely so, because it is very difficult for them to have an authority, a central public public information officer which will coordinate with all types of departments. It is not practically feasible. That we'll have to understand. So therefore, there are various departments, there are various ward wise, whatever. So now if you put an application to a particular public authority, and if he feels in his whatever he knows that this belongs to another department or ward, then he will forward it under section 6.3.
Correct.
Right? Now, if he's forwarding on the 6.3, now obviously now you will have to pursue with that particular department. Now, if that department again says that this does not belong to us, or this is something which should not be forwarded, then you can again go back to the first authority questioning him. Okay, go for first appeal that he misguided and he has forwarded it to the wrong public authority. And if that public authority says that yes, he replies to you, well and good. If it doesn't reply, then you go by whatever we do normally for the first appeal or complaint, whatever.
Okay.
I think that is that clear?
That should be fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Sir, we have a question in the chat from one of the participants. Can the first appellate officer only speak in Marathi?
Okay, that is the question. Now again, there is no direction or any instructions, notification by the commission to have the hearings in a particular language or not. Now when we go for something very common law that all lower courts etc. do function in Marathi. Now there will be a case where that person in fact may not know Marathi. So now here we are talking for a situation where a person goes for a first appeal and he does not know Marathi, right? Is that the question?
Yes.
Right. So you're going for the first appellate authority is the one who does not know any other language. Okay. Now now this is a situation wherein the person who is going for the first appeal can take somebody along with him who understands Marathi, or the second thing would be to preempt this situation and write to the first appellate authority that kindly arrange for interpreter, because I don't know the language Marathi. So these are two situations. Whether the first appellate authority accepts your prayer or reliefs that you have sought, or the convenience that you have sought, is another question. Or you can take somebody along with you who understands Marathi. Until there is some order, some notification which says that this should be provided, but it's difficult. So it's the easiest way is you take somebody along with you who understands Marathi and who can make things clear for you, because the RTI allows somebody else to appear for you. ठीक है।
Are there any more queries? Anyone who wishes to ask in Hindi or Marathi, Advocate Nazir will reply in the same language. Don't worry. Here there's no restriction.
या मराठीत
so-
विचारा ते.
Right.
सर
Whoever.
मुझे एक प्रश्न था जागीरदार सर से। सर जी नमस्कार।
नमस्कार।
मैंने पुलिस स्टेशन में कंप्लेंट किया था एक्स ऑफिस बेरर ऑफ अवर सोसाइटी। उन्होंने मेरा स्टेटमेंट रिकॉर्ड किया, सबका स्टेटमेंट रिकॉर्ड किया। फिर मैंने उनको आरटीआई में सब डॉक्यूमेंट्स मांगा, उसमें स्टेटमेंट रिकॉर्डेड बाय देम, मेरा स्टेटमेंट और पुलिस का जो रिपोर्ट है वो और नोटिस। तो उन्होंने मुझे रिप्लाई दिया कि हमने आरोपी को पत्र लिखा था। उन्होंने 11(1) और 8181 में उन्होंने बोला है कि आपको डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं, थर्ड पार्टी को नहीं देने का। तो मैंने उनको बोला मैं थर्ड पार्टी में आई एम द एप्लीकेंट, मैं खुद ही अप्लाई किया। तो मैं थर्ड पार्टी।
एक मिनट जरा मेरे को क्लैरिफिकेशन, आपने ये आरटीआई किया है पुलिस के सामने, राइट?
यस सर।
और इंफॉर्मेशन जो है वो सोसाइटी से रिलेटेड है?
नहीं, सोसाइटी रिलेटेड नहीं। उन्होंने जो स्टेटमेंट आउट किया है, उन्होंने जो स्टेटमेंट पुलिस स्टेशन में दिया उसके लिए मैंने
किसका था? कंप्लेंट किसने किया?
कंप्लेंट मेरा था।
आपका खुद कंप्लेनेंट था, आपको उसका इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए था, आपने आरटीआई किया पुलिस को, ओके? और पुलिस ने आपको डिनाई किया है साइटिंग सेक्शन
11(1)(b)
थर्ड पार्टी इंफॉर्मेशन। तो उसमें
11(1) में थर्ड पार्टी आता है, 8(1) में आता है कुछ स्पेशल नहीं दे सकते, कुछ ऐसा रहता है।
तो वो जो थर्ड पार्टी आपने बोला, उन्होंने उसमें जो आपको ऑर्डर दिया उसमें उन्होंने क्या लिखा है?
हाँ, उन्होंने क्या बोला, वो थर्ड पार्टी ने ना बोला। अपना 11(1) में जो पार्टी जो उन्होंने रिप्लाई दिया है, उन्होंने आपको देने के लिए मना किया है।
वो दिया उन्होंने आपको, उसका रिप्लाई दिया है उन्होंने आपको?
यस सर।
अच्छा, और ये जो
एक मिनट आगे, उसकी आगे स्टोरी है सर पूरी।
बोलो।
मैंने फर्स्ट अपील किया डीसीपी ऑफिस में, तो डीसीपी ऑफिस ने बोला, उनको तुरंत बोला सब उसको डॉक्यूमेंट आप दे दो। अब इश्यू क्या हुआ है कि वो जो पुलिस ऑफिसर है वो बोले उनका जो रिप्लाई है वो तो मैं दूंगा, मगर जो ऑफिसर है उन्होंने जो रिपोर्ट बनाया वो नहीं दूंगा और नोटिंग नहीं दूंगा। तो बोला नोटिंग क्यों? बोला नोटिंग प्राइवेट आइटम रहता है, वो जो क्या बोलते कॉन्फिडेंशियल नोटिंग नहीं देंगे, और आपको पुलिस का जो स्टेटमेंट है, पुलिस ने जो रिपोर्ट बनाया वो भी नहीं देंगे। तो ऐसा वो कर सकते हैं मुझे?
अभी क्या एफआईआर हुआ था इस पे?
नहीं, एफआईआर उन्होंने बोला ये उसमें
कोई इन्वेस्टिगेशन चालू है इस पे?
नहीं, कुछ नहीं है।
ओके, तो कोई इन्वेस्टिगेशन नहीं है, कोई आपने कंप्लेंट किया, आपको उस पे एक्शन क्या हुआ, स्टेटमेंट किसने क्या दिया वो आपको चाहिए था? उन्होंने थर्ड पार्टी होके आपको मना किया, 8(1) आपको साइट किया उन्होंने, बराबर? 2 रीजन दिया ना डिनाइल के। एक तो ये थर्ड पार्टी इंफॉर्मेशन एंड सेक्शन 11, नंबर 2 8(1). अभी 8(1)(a) है, इंफॉर्मेशन डिस्क्लोज ऑफ विच वुड प्रेजुडिशियली अफेक्ट द सोवरेनिटी इंटीग्रिटी ऑफ इंडिया। ये बड़ा फालतू सा रीजन दिया है जो कोई हालत में इसमें नहीं लगता है। तो इसमें आपको फर्स्ट अपील में जाना चाहिए, और दोनों चीज जो है आपको, क्योंकि आप कंप्लेनेंट है इसलिए इसमें थर्ड पार्टी का कोई इशू आता ही नहीं, आपको मिलना चाहिए इंफॉर्मेशन।
डीसीपी साहब ने मुझे बोल दिया तुरंत, उनको
ऑर्डर पास है, फर्स्ट अपील की ऑर्डर दी है डीसीपी ने।
हाँ, उन्हें वो कॉन्फ्रेंस में दिया, मेरे को हाथ में मैं लिया नहीं।
हाँ, लेकिन फर्स्ट अपील हियरिंग था क्या? वो फर्स्ट अपील का हियरिंग था क्या? तो अपील में ऑलरेडी ऑर्डर कर चुके हो बराबर देने के लिए। हाँ, तो फिर उसके बाद क्या हुआ?
अभी मैं उनके पास मांगने जाता हूँ तो क्या बोलते हैं कि वो सर का सही नहीं हुआ है, हम आपको सिर्फ उनका रिप्लाई देंगे।
हाँ, तो ऑर्डर आपको लेना पड़ेगी। ऑर्डर साइंड ऑर्डर जब तक नहीं आती आपके हाथ में तब तक वो ऑर्डर आपको नहीं मिली है। तो आप वो ऑर्डर आप पहले हाथ में ले लो, और उसके बाद ही जो भी है आप, उन्होंने इन्फॉर्मेशन दिया तो ठीक है, नहीं तो फिर आपको उसको सेक्शन 18 में कंप्लेंट करना पड़ेगा उनका, अगर इन्फॉर्मेशन वो नहीं देते।
ओके,
ठीक है।
ओके, 18 में वापस सेकंड अपील में करना पड़ेगा, सेक्शन 18।
सेकंड अपील फेवरेबल है, आपके फेवर में गई है, बराबर है।
फर्स्ट अपील,
सॉरी फर्स्ट अपील आपके फेवर में है, बराबर है। उसके बावजूद यूजुअली पुलिस ऑफिसर्स ऐसा नहीं करते, वो देंगे इन्फॉर्मेशन आपको, जो भी है देंगे, इनकम्प्लीट देंगे, जो भी देंगे। अगर इनकम्प्लीट दिया तो आप सेक्शन 18 में कंप्लेंट कर सकते हैं, लेकिन यूजुअली पुलिस डिपार्टमेंट में जो सेक्शन 18 जो कमीशन के सामने होती है, कंप्लेंट होती है ना, वो अगर इन्होंने इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं दिया तो यूजुअली पुलिस ऐसा नहीं करेगी, आपको इन्फॉर्मेशन देगी, शायद वो इनकम्प्लीट हो। इनकम्प्लीट होने के बावजूद आप अगर होगा तो आप उसको सेक्शन 18 में इसको चैलेंज कर सकते हैं, पेनल्टी के लिए, उसके लिए वो आप कंप्लेंट कर सकते हैं।
फर्स्ट अपील ऑफिसर
ऑर्डर के बाद नहीं नहीं, फर्स्ट अपीलेट को कोई हाथ नहीं लगाता है। फर्स्ट अपीलेट में कभी एक्सेप्शनल केसेस में इंफॉर्मेशन कमीशन सिर्फ बोल सकता है कि इन पे भाई आप एक्शन लो या डिसिप्लिनरी एक्शन लो। कमीशन को खुद को भी अथॉरिटी नहीं है कि वो फर्स्ट अपीलेट अथॉरिटी को पेनल्टी लगा या कुछ, वो रेकमेंड कर सकता है, उनके जो हायर अथॉरिटीज को रेकमेंड कर सकता है कि भाई ये जो फर्स्ट अपीलेट अथॉरिटी ने अपना काम नहीं किया है करके। तो ये आपका पूरा सिचुएशन है, ठीक है।
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else? Clarence? Neeraj, please unmute Clarence.
Sir, I have unmuted him, but there's no voice from his end.
There's no voice. Clarence, please unmute. No, we can't hear him. Some problem on Clarence side. Clarence, we can't hear you.
So could you please ask if there is anyone else who wishes to ask question? Then we may
Anyone
raise
else? There's a technical hitch at Clarence's place. Anyone else who wishes to ask? हिंदी, मराठी, इंग्लिश कैसे भी पूछना है आपके आरटीआई के बारे में प्रॉब्लम अगर है, कोई डाउट है तो पूछिए, हाथ ऊपर कीजिए। Neeraj, see what's the problem with Clarence? We can't hear him at all.
सर इन द मीन टाइम जब तक आपका ऑडियो ठीक नहीं हो रहा है, एक सर से एक और सवाल ले लेते हैं विद योर परमिशन सर।
हाँ जी।
हाँ सर, ये जो लैंग्वेज का जो प्रेफरेंस है उसमें देयर इज अ प्रेफरेंस इन आरटीआई में ऐसा है, यू कैन से दैट टू आस्क द इंफॉर्मेशन कमिश्नर सॉरी फर्स्ट अपीलेंट अथॉरिटी और सेइंग दैट प्लीज रिप्लाई मी इन इंग्लिश ओनली, बट फिर भी वो मराठी में लिखते हैं जैसे कि हमारा स्टेट का रीजनल लैंग्वेज ये है, इसके लिए करते हैं। देयर इज नथिंग हैपनिंग हमें।
ये होने वाला है, ये होने वाला, बिकॉज यू नो दे आर, देयर इज नो कंपल्शन ऑन देम टू राइट और इन इंग्लिश और रिप्लाई इन इंग्लिश, सो दे, it is a state language. If it had been the other way around, then it would have been serious, that you are replying in English, why not in Marathi? Because that was it. So I don't think there's any solution. The solution is we should all learn Marathi.
नहीं we of course planned ये रहा। सर आपने एक और सवाल, आपने एक और पॉइंट कहा था जिसमें the information commission said कि please disclose the reason. As per RTI Act, they cannot ask us the reason. So
that's what I've discussed now.
Yeah, that's what. So they have themselves violated the act, right?
That's the वही तो हो रहा है ना।
So फिर हम उसको उसपे information commissioner को हम कैसे accountable बनाएंगे?
writ petition is the only solution. That is the problem ना। इसी चीज का तो लोग फायदा उठा रहे हैं। अब हर कोई हाई कोर्ट में जाएगा नहीं ना ये सब चीजें लेके, पॉसिबल नहीं ना एक आम आदमी को ये छोटी छोटी चीजें लेके आरटीआई के नहीं जा सकते, अनलेस देयर इज समथिंग व्हिच इज उसका लाइफ एंड डेथ का मैटर हो तो वो जाएगा, अदरवाइज तो बहुत मुश्किल है।
He won't go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Someone has put the question, Neeraj. Clarence is there online? Just check. Clarence, we can't hear you, Clarence. Clarence, we can't hear you.
Sir, one of the participants has raised his hand up. I have unmuted him.
And someone has put the question on this thing also regarding, when to file the appeal, 30 days and all that. Who is that? Mr. Sri. Just ask him to speak, please. SRI, Mr. Sri.
Sir, I don't see his question.
Acha, he had put in text. See, Clarence is saying something. What's the question? Just check, Neeraj.
Okay, sir. Hold on. So the question from Clarence is the standard reply many a times of PIO is that the information is not available. The same stand is taken by the first appellate authority as well. Is he not obliged to give a reasoned order to the applicant?
See, when the information is not available, then there cannot be a possible reason for that. It's not available. Now, why it is not available, that question can be asked only when we go with the second appeal. If we know, now here one thing is we should be aware that this particular record has to be in that office. Now, if it is very obvious this record has to be in that public authority, and if they are saying is the information is not available, there can be various reasons for that. For example, somebody has put an application but it is not there, it was not put, etc. There can be reasons for that unavailability. But when they say it is unavailable, and the next step is even the first appellate authority is saying unavailable, then the only solution is to go into the second appeal. Now, there are some orders where, despite being available, if they have taken a stand that is unavailable, then even there are orders which say that FIR should be launched against them under the appropriate act. So that is there. So they can deny, they will say, take all sorts of frivolous reasons, just plain denial. But then once an order is passed by the first appellate authority, then there is no other solution but to go for the second appeal. Now, if the PIO has taken that stand, then you have to justify in your first appeal that why do you say that this information should be there with the public authority. If you have given a justification of how this information is going to be with you, then it is the duty of the legal duty of the first appellate to give his reasoned order according to the response or according to the grounds that you have stated, that why that information should be with that public authority. Okay.
Right. Some queries have come. Mr. Subhash Kadam had asked about what's the cost of writ petition if they have to go. Dheeraj, just check.
Shall I answer?
Sure, sir. Please go ahead.
See, now this question is not easily answerable because it all depends on, advocate to advocate, right from, say, so from 5,000 to 5 lakhs, it will be anywhere. So many writ petitions, if you are, if you know some working English knowledge, then you can go in person and file a writ petition. You can get it drafted by somebody and you can go in person. That is the easiest route. Otherwise, yes, it is financially taxing. If you go to file a writ petition through an advocate, it is going to cost you. How much? Of course, I cannot say how much. It will depend on. There are some who can, even do it pro bono, but it's very rare. Or you can take the judicial, the free judicial help that the court gives you. So it's not an easy question. But yes, you can go by yourself in person if you understand the law.
Okay, someone is raising the hand.
Sir, I see two hands been raised up. I've asked to unmute them, but they have not unmuted from their end.
हॅलो
हॅलो, या
बोलू शकतो का सर?
हा, बोला ना, बोला.
नाशिकवरनं बोलतोय प्रशांत देशमुख.
हा, बोला बोला, तुमचा मेसेज आला होता ते.
हा, तर मी बऱ्याच दिवसापासून म्हणजे ह्या सगळ्या कमिशनच्या ऑर्डर वाचल्या मी. तर त्याच्यात एक दिसतं मला की PIO हजर असतो हिअरिंगला.
हा,
तर त्याच्यामध्ये तो एक्सप्लेनेशन देऊ नाही शकत. हिअरिंगला 2-2, 3-3 वर्ष लागतात. की तो सॅटिस्फाय करत नाही कमिशनचं की ते माहिती देण्यास का नकार दिला किंवा विलंब का झाला किंवा दिलेली नाही. तर तिथे कमिशननी त्याला डायरेक्ट कॉस्ट मारली पाहिजे, तिला फाईन मारला पाहिजे. तर तसं न करता तो हजर असताना त्याला शोकॉज नोटीस देता म्हणतात आणि त्याचं 15 दिवसात म्हणणं सादर करावं आणि मग त्याच्यानंतर त्यांचं काही म्हणणं नाही आलं तर आम्ही तुम्हाला शास्ती कायम करू म्हणून आणि अपील डिस्पोज करतात. मग एकदा अपील डिस्पोज झाल्यानंतर तुम्ही त्याला फाईन कसं काय लावणार? कायदेशीर मुद्दा. आणि दुसरा त्याच्यामध्ये मुद्दा असा आहे की त्याने जे काही म्हणणं सादर केलं, नॅचरल जस्टिस असं सांगतं की जो अपिलंट आहे त्याला त्याची कॉपी दिली पाहिजे आणि ती कॉपी देऊन त्याचं परत त्याच्यावर काही म्हणणं आहे का अपिलंटचं ते ऐकून न घेता हे परस्पर ते दाखल करून घेतात आणि ते निकाली काढतात. आणि एवढंच नाही तर यांनी जर 15 दिवसात एक्सप्लेनेशन सादर करायला लावलेलं असेल तर अशा काही केसेस आहे की त्या 2-2, 3-3 वर्ष पडलेल्या आहेत. त्या PIOने एक्सप्लेनेशन काही फाईल केलेलं नाहीये आणि त्या केसेस डम्प झालेल्या आहे अक्षरशः. मग स्वतःहून कॉग्निझन्स घेत नाहीये कमिशन. 15 दिवस झाले त्याला एक्सप्लेनेशन नाही दिलं, एक तर त्याला 166 ची नोटीस द्यायची किंवा त्याला हजर व्हायला भाग पाडायचं. हे काही होत नाहीये आणि हे सगळ्यात महाराष्ट्रामध्ये करप्ट प्रॅक्टिस चालू आहे आणि हे सगळे सेटलमेंटचे प्रकार आहे मोठ्या प्रकारात. ते याच्यावर काय करताय?
तुम्ही जे म्हणाला ना तेच मी सुरुवातीला तेच म्हणालोय की तुम्ही
हम्म.
जेव्हा फायनल ऑर्डर देता मग तुम्ही त्याचं एक्सप्लेनेशनला पुढे का ढकलताय? तुम्ही इंटरिम ऑर्डर द्या इन्फॉर्मेशन द्यायची आणि त्याचं एक्सप्लेनेशन देऊन फायनल ऑर्डर पेनल्टी सहित पास करा.
बरोबर.
हे करत नाहीये. आता जे करत नाही, एकदा तुमची ऑर्डर झाली तर त्या ऑर्डरला रिट पिटिशन दुसरं चॅलेंज नाही, तेच मी आता सांगितलं. तर आता हे मी त्याला बदमाशी म्हणतो, दुसरं काही नाही, याला शब्द हेच आहे. हे जे आहे ना, हे यांना PIO ना लॉंग रोप द्यायचंय, त्यांना वाचवायचा हे सगळं प्रयत्न आहे. त्याच्यामुळे सगळं होते. हेच घातक ठरायला लागलंय या आपल्या RTI ऍक्ट साठी. याच्यामध्ये लोकांनी कंप्लेंट केली पाहिजे चीफ इन्फॉर्मेशन कमिशनरला, गव्हर्नरला, स्टेट गव्हर्नमेंटला. दुसरं ह्याला सध्या तरी काय सुद्धा दुसरा उपाय नाही. दुसरं आहे की तुम्ही याला फॉलोअप करू शकता की त्याने रिप्लाय दिला का नाही, आणि जर दिला नसेल तर मग बाय डिफॉल्ट त्याच्यावर पेनल्टी झाली का 15 दिवसानंतर, हा रेकॉर्ड तो माणूस काढू शकतो ज्याच्या सेकंड अपील ऑर्डर मध्ये लिहिलेलं आहे की 15 दिवसात किंवा 30 दिवसात याने तो हे करावा, एक्सप्लेनेशन द्यावा. जर त्याने दिलं नाही तर तो अपॅलेंट तो काय करू शकतो, ते RTI मार्फत तो काढू शकतो की त्याने दिलं का एक्सप्लेनेशन, आणि नाही दिलं तर त्याच्यावर शास्तीची कारवाई झाली का. हे जर झाली नसेल, हे आपण एक्सपोज करून दिलं तर तिथंच सगळं एक्सपोज होऊन जाईल हे सगळं खेळ. ठीक है.
ओके राजेंद्र जी, आपने जो सवाल किया था रिट पिटिशन का कॉस्ट क्या होगा, इसका पहले किसी ने भी पूछा था, तो नाजिर जी ने इसका जवाब दिया है कि वो एडवोकेट से एडवोकेट का वो इट्स डिपेंडेंट ऑन एडवोकेट टू एडवोकेट. वो कम से कम 5,000 भी हो सकता है, 5 लाख भी हो सकता है. ओके, तो ये जवाब दे दिया एडवोकेट नाजिर जी ने. ओके, तो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन लेंगे. किसी को पूछना है क्वेश्चन?
हेलो.
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 सुभाष जी, नीरज, unmute Subhash Kadam, please.
Sir, we have Rajesh Bowser. He has been waiting since some time. So I've unmuted him, but there is a lot of noise coming from his background.
Please ensure that background noise is not there, please, everyone.
Rajesh ji, please go ahead and ask your question. आप अपना सवाल पूछ सकते हो.
सर राजेश भाव सर. जहांगीर सर, राजेश भाव सर.
हाँ बोलो.
हाँ सर, मैंने लोकल पुलिस में RTI डाला था सर्टन चीज के लिए. हेलो.
हाँ बोलो बोलो.
हाँ, मैंने सर्टन चीज के लिए RTI डाला था. उसमें कुछ आउट ऑफ 10 6 सवाल के क्वेश्चन उन्होंने लागू नहीं करके मेंशन कर दिए.
अच्छा.
उसके अंदर ऑलरेडी मैंने पुलिस के ऊपर कंप्लेंट डाली है, तो क्या करना चाहिए मुझे?
नहीं, अगर आपको PIO ने जवाब दिया है जिसमें आपको लगता है कि इंफॉर्मेशन डिस्क्लोज करना चाहिए और उसने नहीं किए, तो आपको फर्स्ट अपील में जाना चाहिए और आपका केस रखना चाहिए उनके सामने कि ये जो इन्फॉर्मेशन डिस्क्लोजेबल है, उन्होंने डिस्क्लोज करना चाहिए. उन्होंने रीजन क्या दिया है, उन्होंने क्या उसका रीजन क्या दिया है?
फर्स्ट अपील के अंदर पहले तो रीजन नहीं दिया. फर्स्ट अपील में रीजन दिया लागू नहीं. देयर इज नो रीजन.
तो फर्स्ट अपील ने क्या आपको ऑर्डर दिया है?
फर्स्ट अपील ने ऑर्डर दिया कि माहिती उपलब्ध असेल तर त्वरित देण्यात यावी.
हाँ, तो ये जो है इस तरह का ऑर्डर जो ये देते हैं ना, ये इधर सारा प्रॉब्लम है. असेल तर अभी जो फर्स्ट अपीलेट अथॉरिटी है वो उसको कंफर्म करने का काम है, वो इंक्वायरी है, क्वासी जुडिशियल इंक्वायरी है फर्स्ट अपीलेट प्रोसीडिंग्स, जिसमें फर्स्ट अपीलेट को ये नतीजे पे पहुंचना है कि ये इंफॉर्मेशन है या देना चाहिए या नहीं देना चाहिए. बराबर है. तो ये अगर इस तरह की ऑर्डर होती है, यही प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. तो इसमें एक हो सकता है कि इस तरह का अगर सिचुएशन आए तो आपको फर्स्ट अपीलेट अथॉरिटी से एडजॉर्नमेंट मांगना चाहिए.
ओके.
कि इनका आप फाइनल जो है इनको कंफर्म करके बोलने दो, उसके बाद आप ऑर्डर पास करो.
ओके.
तो इसमें क्या करना है, हमको एक साथ में ले जाना है एप्लीकेशन फॉर एडजॉर्नमेंट. और उस पे लिखना है कि अगर हम एंटिसिपेट, हमको पहले करना है कि ये आदमी जो है इस तरह का देगा, तो हमको क्या बोलना है कि अगर इंफॉर्मेशन है या नहीं है, इसको अगर जांच करना है पीआईओ को, तो कृपया आज की हियरिंग एडजॉर्न करे और पीआईओ के रिप्लाई तक आप इसको नेक्स्ट हियरिंग तक एडजॉर्न करे करके एप्लीकेशन देके एक्नॉलेज करके ले लेना चाहिए। या
ओके
तो
ओके
आप फर्स्ट अपील के पहले ही एप्लीकेशन आप उनको वो दे सकते हैं। तो फिर
राइट सर।
फर्स्ट अपीलेट को एक चेक रहेगा कि हाँ भाई, अगर आपको उसको कंफर्म करने आप टाइम दो ना, जल्दी नहीं हमको, आप एक एडजॉर्नमेंट और दे दो, 15 दिन के बाद हियरिंग रखो, लेकिन इस बात को इंक्वायरी कंफर्म होने दो कि इंफॉर्मेशन का स्टेटस क्या है, पीआईओ को आने दो इसके बाद में 15 दिन के बाद। ठीक है,
राइट सर।
हाँ
गुड, थैंक यू सर।
या
हॅलो
हेलो,
हॅलो
हाँ जी, हेलो,
जागीरदार साहेब,
हाँ बोला बोला
हा मी कदम बोलतो.
बोला।
इन्कम टॅक्स ऑफिस मधून आपण समोरच्या पार्टीची काही स्पेसिफिक इन्फॉर्मेशन मागवू शकतो का, की ज्याने त्या पार्टीवरती 138 च्या बोगस केसेस केलेल्या आहेत?
हे मला नाही वाटत तुम्हाला मिळेल आरटीए मध्ये, कारण हे थर्ड पार्टी इन्फॉर्मेशन आहे आणि इन्कम टॅक्सचे मॅटर आहे. तर आय डोंट थिंक यू विल गेट अनलेस तुम्ही पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट डिस्क्लोज करताय का, तर तुम्हाला काय करावं लागेल, तुम्ही आरटीआय करा, त्यांचा रिस्पॉन्स बघा आणि ते कुठल्या क्लॉज मध्ये, एक्झम्पशन क्लॉज मध्ये तुम्हाला डिनायल होणार 100%.
ओके
डिनायल कुठल्या क्लॉज मध्ये करतायत ते बघा. युजली फिड्युशरी कॅपॅसिटी वगैरे ते क्लॉज घेऊन ते डिनाय करतात. त्याच्यानंतर तुम्हाला एकच आहे, यू हॅव टू प्रूव्ह दॅट देर इज अ पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट.
ओके
पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट तुम्ही जर प्रूव्ह करू शकला तर ते डिनाय करू शकत नाही माहिती. ह्याची लिगल पोझिशन ही आहे. ठीक आहे,
ठीक आहे सर, ठीक आहे.
ओके.
All right. Any more questions?
Krishna ji, please go ahead.
Is muted. Krishna Damodalekar, no?
Yes, sir. I have asked him to unmute.
कृष्णा जी अनम्यूट कीजिए खुद को.
नमस्कार साहेब. नाशिर साहेब, मी दामोदरेकर बोलतोय, कृष्णा दामोदरेकर.
नमस्कार नमस्कार, बोला.
1 तारखेला माझी आता सेकंड अपील आहे.
हा जी.
आणि त्यामध्ये काय केलेलं आहे, इथे आम्हाला फेस करा, आम्ही नेहमीच फेस करतो. सहकार डिपार्टमेंट मध्ये एक बॅड प्रॅक्टिस चालू आहे. कोणी उत्तर देत नाही, एक आउटवर्ड करून एक लेटर ठेवतात बाजूला, आणि आम्ही जेव्हा जातो 30 दिवसानंतर ते म्हणतात तुम्हाला लेटर पाठवलं होतं. अशा तऱ्हेने माहिती दिली म्हणून सांगतात. अपीलवाला ते कन्फर्म करतो, दिली, आणि अपील डिसमिस करून दुसरीकडे. अशा तऱ्हेचं माझं अपील आहे आता.
नाही,
तिथे सर्क्युलर त्यांना कोट केलंय की कोणती माहिती तुम्हाला जर माहिती द्यायची आहे, एवढे पैसे भरा म्हणता, तर ते एक सर्क्युलर आहे. त्या सर्क्युलर प्रमाणे 10 दिवसाच्या आत तुम्हाला कळवायला पाहिजे तुम्ही. आणि त्यांच्या लेटर प्रमाणे अगदी 3 महिन्यांना, 3 हप्त्यानंतर आउटवर्ड आहेत, म्हणजे ते फॉर्म मध्ये समोर दिसतात. तर तुम्ही 3 महिन्यानंतर का, म्हणजे मला माहिती कशी मिळणार? पोस्टाने यायला किती दिवस जातात? 7 ते 8 साध्या पोस्टाने लेटर पाठवता, मग आम्ही येऊन पोहोचणार कधी? आणि मग तुम्ही म्हणजे पहिलं लेटर तर आम्हाला मिळू दे, मग आम्ही पैसे भरायचे की नाही पुढचं. आणि बरं पैसे भरायला ते आपल्याला रिझर्व्ह बँकेत जायला सांगतायत. दॅट इज ऑल्सो वन व्हायोलेशन आहे.
पैसा रिझर्व्ह बँकेत मला नाही कळालं. पैसा रिझर्व्ह बँकेत कसं काय भरायचं ते, का भरायचं
आता सांगते आहे माझ्याकडे लेटर. मग नंतर मी त्याच्यावर फोर्स केल्यावर पुन्हा ते आता अपीलच्या ऑर्डर मध्ये माझं म्हणणं मांडून घेतलंच नाही. मी रायटिंग मध्ये दिलं होतं. ऑर्डर आली, ऑर्डर 2 महिन्याने आली. आउटर डेट टाकली 45 दिवसाच्या आतली. असा इथलं या तऱ्हेने इथे फ्रॉड चालतो. म्हणजे काय म्हणतात त्याला, तुमचं बनाव म्हणतात.
कायदेशीर आपल्या हातात काय, आपण फर्स्ट अपील करू शकतो, आपली बाजू मांडू शकतो.
फर्स्ट अपील,
सेकंड अपील करू शकतो, आपण आपली बाजू मांडू शकतो. आणि त्यांनी जर खोटं म्हणतात की तुम्हाला माहिती दिली, तर तुम्ही त्यांना कन्फर्म त्याचा एव्हिडन्स द्यायची जबाबदारी त्यांच्यावर असते. त्यांनी ते दाखवावं की एडी कार्डचं एक्नॉलेजमेंट, पोस्टाचं एक्नॉलेजमेंट ते तुम्ही मागवायचं असतं त्यांच्याकडून. तुम्ही, आणि त्याशिवाय नाही ते कन्फर्म होऊ शकत नाही. तुम्ही जर सेकंड अपीलला गेला तर सेकंड अपीलला तुम्ही त्यांना सांगायचं की तुम्ही ते एव्हिडन्स प्रोड्यूस करा, एक ऍप्लिकेशन द्यायचं की यांनी, कारण यांनी आदेश देऊ शकतात त्यांना, तुम्ही एकतर ऍफिडेव्हिट वर या, नाहीतर रेकॉर्ड द्या की तुम्ही यांना पाठवलेलं आहे, त्याचा रेकॉर्ड, आउटवर्ड नंबर, पोस्टाचा एक्नॉलेजमेंट वगैरे त्यांना ते द्यावं लागतं. तर असं नुसतं सहजासहजी कोणी बोलू शकत नाही की आम्ही दिली.
गव्हर्नमेंट स्टॅम्प अकाउंट रजिस्टर इज ऑल्सो देअर. दे हॅव टू मेंटेन.
हा तर
गव्हर्नमेंट
तेच तोच म्हणलो ना, मग यात प्रॉब्लेम नाही. आपण बरोबर विचारायचं.
फर्स्ट अपील
सेकंड अपील मध्येच हे सगळं होऊ शकतो. जे
I
काय आहे ते
open
आपल्याला.
Sabha, each and every I wrote it.
ठीक है.
Second thing, sir, generally what we can do? ये रेगुलर सब लोगों का ऐसा ही प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है.
सी
सरकार
आपण
particularly.
ऍक्टच्या 4 कॉर्नर्स मध्ये राहूनच आपल्याला जे पॉवर आपल्याला पार्लमेंटने ते पॉवर दिलेले, त्याच्या
पण
पलीकडे
problem
जर करायचं तर आपल्याला रस्त्यावर उतरावं लागेल. ती गोष्ट वेगळी.
नाही,
आजच्या
नाही.
चौकटीत जर
म्हणजे-
आपल्याला काम करायचं असेल तर आपल्याला फर्स्ट अपील, PIO त्याचं खोडून काढणे, ऍडजॉर्नमेंट मागणे, त्याच्याकडून रिप्लाय मागणे, सेकंड अपील करणे. सेकंड अपील मध्ये सेकंड अपिलेटचे जे पॉवर आहे कमिशनरचे ते त्यांना कंपल्सरीली त्यांनी हे करावं म्हणून आपण त्याच्यावर प्रेस करू शकतो.
आपले
सेक्शन
प्रयत्न
18
चालू. तुमचे
पण
प्रयत्न
त्या
चांगले
पलीकडे
चाललेले आहे.
बाकीचे जे शासन काम करत नाही त्यासाठी तर आपल्याला दुसरं काय हे नाही. ते आपण निवडून दिलेलं ते सरकार आहे आणि ते तसं वागतायत, तेच मोठा प्रॉब्लेम आहे. तर ती गोष्टच वेगळी आहे. त्यासाठी वेगळं आपल्याला कायदा आणावा लागेल आणि त्यासाठी प्रयत्न करावे लागतील. ठीक आहे.
All right. Any more queries? Any more queries for Advocate Nazirji regarding RTI Act?
Hello.
हाँ, who is that? बोलो.
मेरा एक सवाल है.
हाँ जी.
नसीर जी सर.
हाँ जी.
हेलो.
हाँ बोलिए बोलिए.
मैंने एक RTI अप्लाई किया था मार्डा में.
हाँ जी.
उसके बाद 30 डेज हो गया कंप्लीट. तो मैंने फर्स्ट अपील किया. उसमें मैंने मेंशन किया कि मेरा जो सो एड्रेस था वो अभी नहीं है और मेरा ऑफिस चेंज हो गया है. तो मुझे अपील के लिए इन्फॉर्म करें ये न्यू एड्रेस के ऊपर.
अच्छा.
लेकिन इन लोगों ने क्या किया, अपील से हियरिंग से 3 दिन पहले मुझे ओल्ड एड्रेस पे लेटर दिया.
अच्छा.
तो वो मुझे मिला, लेकिन किस दिन मिला थोड़ा लेट हुआ. जिस दिन मेरा हियरिंग का टाइम था नेक्स्ट डे, और हियरिंग में मैं नहीं जा पाया. तो मेंशन करने के बाद इनको मुझे इन्फॉर्म न्यू एड्रेस पे करना चाहिए था.
नहीं करना तो चाहिए था लेकिन रह गया. लेकिन आपको मिला वो टाइम पे, बराबर है. तो इसमें बेसिकली कैसा है, आपको RTI के अंदर इसमें कोई रिकोर्स नहीं है. हाँ, उन्होंने नहीं भेजा होता तो आप फर्स्ट अपील तो उनको लेना ही लेना है. आपको जब तक नोटिस नहीं मिलते आप आएंगे नहीं. और एक्स पार्टी अगर उन्होंने किया तो आपको आगे कहीं ना कहीं पता चलेगा कि भाई ये हो गई. आप जब जाके पूछोगे तो बोले तो ऑर्डर हो गया, आप आए नहीं. और अगर आप आए नहीं है उस टाइम में आप ये बोल सकते थे कि मेरे को नोटिस ही नहीं मिला. तो ये सिचुएशन में जो है इसमें बेसिकली माइनर चीजें एक्सेप्शनल हो गया कि आपका एड्रेस चेंज हो गया, लेकिन आपको मालूम पड़ा, नोटिस मिली आपको डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली.
ओके. उसके बाद मैं नेक्स्ट डे नहीं जा पाया. तो दोबारा उनको इन्फॉर्म करना चाहिए या मुझे फॉलो
नहीं,
करना?
अगर आप नहीं जा सके, अगर फर्स्ट अपील की एक्चुअली हुआ क्या है, आपको लेट मिला है, आप बोल रहे हैं.
नाइट में मिला मुझे.
लेट मिला क्योंकि आपका एड्रेस चेंज था, एक कारण की वजह से आपको लेट मिला, तो आप फर्स्ट अपील को नहीं जा सके. लेकिन अपील के पहला आपके हाथ में नोटिस आई थी, पहले दिन आई, एक रात पहले आई आपको, बराबर. तो इमीडिएटली क्या था कि सेकंड दिन को आपको एक ईमेल वो टाइम के पहला करना था कि देखो मैं नहीं आ सकता, मेरे को आज ही मिली है नोटिस और इसके लिए इट इज ह्यूमनली इम्पॉसिबल फॉर मी टू कम फॉर माय अदर कमिटमेंट व्हाटएवर. तो काइंडली एडजॉर्न दिस फॉर अ फ्यूचर डेट करके आपको, अगर वो रिकॉर्ड पे जाता तो फर्स्ट अपीलेट अथॉरिटी उसके आगे नहीं जा सकती थी. लेकिन अगर आपका नहीं गया तो फिर वो ऑर्डर एक्स पार्टी वो पास कर सकते.
ओके. एक क्वेश्चन और है. जब भी RTI एप्लीकेशन देते हैं तो 30 डेज में आंसर नहीं दिया तो इसका मतलब समझ में आता है कि PIO इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं देना चाहते हैं, तो हम लोग अपील में जाते हैं. तो अपील में उनको ऑर्डर करना चाहिए रिप्लाई देने के लिए या बुलाना चाहिए? अपील तो जब होनी चाहिए जब हियरिंग हो. तो हियरिंग तो उस बात की होनी चाहिए कि मुझे इन्फॉर्मेशन ठीक नहीं मिली या मुझे कंप्लीट नहीं है इन्फॉर्मेशन. लेकिन जब आंसर ही नहीं मिला तो फिर हियरिंग में जाके टाइम खराब होता है.
यही क्वेश्चन है. देखो क्या होता है, जब आपको रिप्लाई नहीं आया 30 दिन में और आप फर्स्ट अपील के लिए चले गए, तो आपको अभी पता ही नहीं है कि इसने क्या ग्राउंड लेके डिनाई किया है वो, क्योंकि उस दिन आपके सामने वो कुछ ना कुछ बोलेगा PIO कि भाई ये रीजन के लिए नहीं है. तो इसमें लिए मैं लोगों को यही बोल रहा हूँ, उसमें आपने, अगर आपको ग्राउंड्स उसी दिन मालूम पड़ रहे तो आपने एडजॉर्नमेंट मांगना है कि ये PIO ने जो स्टैंड लिया है इसके खिलाफ मेरे को एक्सप्लेनेशन रिटर्न स्टेटमेंट देना है, तो आप प्लीज गिव मी एन एडजॉर्नमेंट, आप फाइनल ऑर्डर ना पास करें, क्योंकि ये आदमी ऑलरेडी डिफॉल्टर है। ये आज फर्स्ट अपीलेट में आके बोल रहा है रीजन। When I don't know the reason, how am I going to refute here and at this particular? He's taken me by surprise. तो आपको इमीडिएटली रिटर्न में या ओरली उसको बोले एडजमेंट है, इसमें फाइनल ऑर्डर आप नहीं दे सकते, मेरे को उसको रिफ्यूट करना है, इसका रिबर्ट करना है इसके आर्गुमेंट्स, और इसलिए मेरे को रिटर्न स्टेटमेंट में जब फाइल करूंगा उसके आप फाइनल ऑर्डर करो। ये एक चीज हो सकती है। और
नहीं, क्योंकि कुछ तो चाहिए, क्योंकि
ये कॉमन है। आपने जो क्वेश्चन रेज किया ये अच्छा क्वेश्चन है। यही होता है, ये अभी क्या करते हैं, इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं देते और फर्स्ट अपील में आके कुछ ना कुछ बोल देते हैं। तो उस टाइम पे आपको ना आर्ग्यूमेंट होता है आपके पास में, ना आपको इतना समझ होती है कि आप क्या इसको रिफ्यूट करे, और वो फर्स्ट अपील अधूरी, वो इन्फॉर्मेशन पे उनपे ऑलरेडी सांठगांठ है उनकी। तो पीआईओ को पहला ही बोलेगा कि तू ये बोल मैं ऐसी ऑर्डर दे दूंगा। तो इसमें वो अनफॉर्चुनेट है, सिस्टम ही ऐसा है कि वो जो है वो एक ही सिस्टम से लोग है, और वो जो है वो एक दूसरे के लिए काम कर रहे हैं, एपेलेट और पीआईओ, उनको डिनाई करना है। तो हम लोग सिर्फ एक ही कर सकते हैं, एडजॉर्नमेंट मांगो और इमीडिएटली रिटर्न एप्लीकेशन दे दो कि मेरे को इन्होंने जो स्टैंड लिया, यू राइट दैट कि ये जो है पीआईओ आज हियरिंग के टाइम इन्होंने कहा है कि ये रीजन से है और इसको मैं रिटर्न स्टेटमेंट से रिबर्ट करना चाहता हूँ, इसलिए एडजॉर्नमेंट दे, और उसको एडजॉर्नमेंट देना पड़ेगा।
जी, मेरा यही क्वेश्चन था कि 30 डेज एप्लीकेंट के 30 डेज गए, उसकी लेटर गया, टाइपिंग करता है, मेहनत करता है, उसके बाद वो 30 डेज पीआईओ को इसीलिए दिए जाते हैं ना कि आप उसमें रिप्लाई दो, जो बात आप अथॉरिटी के सामने बोल रहे हो वो मुझे 30 डेज में दे देना चाहिए। तो मेरा तो टाइम खराब हुआ, लेकिन क्या हुआ, ना तो पीआईओ का टाइम खराब हुआ और ना ही फर्स्ट
वो तो बाद में देखो, आप उनको कंपेंसेशन सेकंड अपील में कंपेंसेशन मांग सकते हैं, पेनल्टी भी हो सकती है, कंपेंसेशन भी देता है। तो ये इसके जो लॉ अलाउ करता है उसी में हम लोग काम कर सकते हैं। बाकी ये तो लोगों के इंटेंशन खराब है, हमारा क्या बोलते हैं नेशनल कंडक्ट हो गया कि लोगों को परेशान करना है, तो उसके लिए तो कुछ नहीं है, बस ये जो लॉ है उसी के फोर कॉर्नर्स में हम लोग कर सकते हैं। ठीक है,
थैंक यू।
Nasir sir, how often are these compensations and the fines rewarded?
Actually, it is very rare, but then considering the delay that is happening now, and if you can make up a good case that how it has caused you inconvenience. Now, for example, if that information was, if you've not got that information and it has caused you any loss, then definitely you can ask for compensation, and the compensation can be proportionate to your loss. If such cases come up before the commission, then there could be some precedents that since this information was not, it gave me a loss of say 10 lakh rupees, and that compensation could be asked, and then that could be a situation wherein something could be decided, and whether that person can file a suit for damages against that particular PIO. So that's hypothetical. So right now, yes, if you have a case of some damages, then you can ask for the compensation. If it caused you some damage, you can ask for a compensation.
Sir, the next question from the participant: can we ask only for physical hearing?
Right now, though, you can't do it. In normal time, suppose the decision is taken for hybrid hearings, that time you can say that okay, I want a physical hearing, and that could be granted. But right now, in the course of a pandemic, I don't think you will have that discretion if the commission wants to be only a through virtual conferencing. Okay.
Sir, we'll move on to the next question.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, there has to be a 7-day prior notice before the date of hearing. As such, there was some order from SIS and government, but most of the cases these days, only 1 to 3 day notice is given prior to hearing. So what can be done with that?
You're talking about first appeal, right?
Yes, sir. First appeal.
See, here you have a solution. Either immediately, if you can't produce yourself, or you go there within 1 or 2 days, you immediately email them on email or write a letter that you may not be able to attend because this was short notice, and therefore kindly give a future date, adjourn the matter. That can be done. And if you can attend, then you can attend. These are the only two solutions. If you really have a difficulty in attending, and because of the short notice, then you should give them prior notice of adjournment and application for adjournment. Okay.
So there is no facility with the State Information Commissioner of Maharashtra to file a second appeal online. So what would you have to say in that?
No, I didn't get the question. What exactly?
So there is no facility with the State Information Commission of Maharashtra to file the second appeal. If an applicant wants to file for second appeal directly with the SIC Maharashtra online, then
online, okay.
Yeah.
Acha, that we'll have to ask for, na. We'll ask for the commission and the state government and the governor to go for that process where there should be facility for online filing of the this thing. So right now it's a question of a system that we have to develop. The RT Act itself is not providing anything. It's not going to help us in this. Okay.
Advocate Nazirji, can I intervene, please?
Yeah.
See, of course, as someone raised, there is no system for filing second appeal through online, through internet. Okay. But then, of course, it is not provided anywhere in RTI. But what I feel is the GAD department, the principal secretary GAD or the chief minister, there we have to, whoever are affected, or every one of us, of course, can write to them saying that let us have this system. We want this system of filing when there's application can be done online, first appeal can be done online. Then why not the second appeal? And I think we can force them to have this give us the system of filing second appeal also through online. So I believe if you write to principal secretary GAD, there are good chances of us getting the facility of filing second appeal online. So I think that needs to be explored, by everyone. Anyone else? Hello, Dheeraj?
So just a second. Sir, we have one participant, SHGFAD. I have unmuted him, but there's no voice from his end. Same as Clarence.
Okay. Does not disclose his name?
No, sir. There's no name. Meanwhile, let's take a question from Linus Dilemma.
Advocate Jagdevi, I just wanted to ask you regarding the first hearing. It's not always possible to go to Goa to attend. Can't I write it and say, judge it on the merits, a written statement?
Yeah, it's up to you. See, if you want to waive your right for a personal hearing, then you give a detailed your grounds for granting the appeal, and you say that you're ready for that. You waive your right for personal appearance.
Yeah, because I give valid reasons like saying one is health and the next is the
you
pandemic.
need not see if you don't want it's not binding on you. So you do not even give a reason. It is your choice. It is your choice. But only thing is, when the PIO has disclosed his reason for disclosure, only then you can give a proper written statement. If he has not, then it becomes difficult.
Okay. Now there was a hearing scheduled. Okay, I asked for the proceedings.
Okay.
I have not yet got a reply. In fact, I mean, after much this, I got a reply saying that nothing was recorded.
But there would be an order, no?
So that order also I don't have any, details. How do I proceed on asking?
There must be some reason given, whether it is allowed, not allowed, reason for allowing the appeal or rejecting the appeal. There must be something.
Nothing has come to me. In fact, I made 2 RTI.
You just ask for the appeal. Once you get the appeal order, then you will come to know what exactly has happened.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Thanks, Akash. Thank you.
Any more queries, Neeraj? Are there anyone else who wishes to? Is there anyone else who wishes to ask queries?
Sir, we don't have any queries in the chat box,
All right.
but I believe Kadamji wants to ask something. I have unmuted him.
Oh, Mr. Adam, is it?
No, Subhash Kadam.
Subhash Kadam. Okay, okay.
सर नमस्ते.
हा बोला.
सर आपण ज्यावेळेस फर्स्ट अपील कंडक्ट होतोय त्यावेळेला आपण त्याची रेकॉर्डिंग ची परमिशन घेऊ शकतो का?
नो ऍक्च्युली तुम्ही परमिशन मागितली पाहिजे. ओके, मागितली पाहिजे, पण त्यांचं डिस्क्रेशन आहे, ते नाही म्हणू शकता तुम्हाला.
ओके.
हा, ठीक आहे.
And Nasir sir, is there any preferred platform for the first appellate authority for the online hearing of the application?
First appeal, I didn't get the question. What exactly is the question?
So when we are going before the first appellate authority through the online means, is there any designated app for them?
I think most government departments are using Google Meet. That's what I know. Now, whether there is a government circular asking them to take a particular technological route or not, I am not aware. But they are usually using Google Meet, whereas some other like high courts are using something else. So it will depend on what the state government, and if there is no direction, then they must be choosing their own thing. That is what is evident or apparent right now.
Correct, because it has come to my attention from many of the applicants that these first appellate authorities, what they are doing is that they are asking their subordinates to call up the applicant through WhatsApp calling.
Now, actually, the question here would be that whether a WhatsApp chat could be used to conduct a first appeal, right? This should be the question.
Right, sir.
Right. Now, there is no bar on this because we're using a virtual conferencing system without any government notification how to conduct. If somebody is doing it on WhatsApp, then there is no question of any legality and illegality. Of course, the applicant has the discretion to deny that mode. He can say that I am not comfortable, I cannot do it on WhatsApp. You better do it on Meet or Zoom or any other platform. But with a clear instruction from the state government, he can well do it. It's up to you whether you're accepting that mode or not. Right?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Any more queries by anyone? Anyone else wishes to ask? I think we need to wind up, Neeraj.
Yeah, I'll just one very interesting thing in Bhopal, one RTO has denied because the record room he says is haunted. Yeah, that's very very unusual. Yeah. Okay, we can wind up.
All right. Okay. So thank you very much, Advocate Nazir ji, for patiently listening to us and replying to everyone's queries and explaining about the mischief played by the officers, who deliberately or otherwise deny information in some way or the other. The PIOs, the first appellate, and of course the big mischief played by the mischief, or call it whatever, in non-adherence to the RTI Act by the Information Commission themselves. Okay, so let's wind up the matter now. As we all participants would have realized that there are a lot of denial of information being taken place in violation of the RTI Act from the PIO onwards till the second appellate authority. So here, as Advocate Nazir ji also several times in the past and through our webinars also, we have informed all the RTI applicants and concerned citizens that whenever you find, non-adherence to the RTI Act in your application, appeal and second appeal, please bring it to the notice of Advocate Nazir ji. Suppose we get adequate number of such orders where there has been, deliberate or otherwise non-adherence to the RTI Act by these officers, RTI officers, then we need to do something about it. Maybe go up to the governor, maybe file a writ in the PIL in the court or whatever. Advocate Nazirji has offered to do that on behalf of everyone, totally for the benefit of the proper implementation of the RTI Act in Maharashtra. So once again, we request you, if you find that such orders you all have where PIO or the First Appellate or the Information Commission hasn't adhered to the RTI Act, please give it to him. Please give the order with your covering note. I see here, this has happened, that has happened, but information has been denied, or penalty has not been levied, or disciplinary action has not been done, whatever. So if you feel that there has been gross violation of the RTI Act, please give a note, give your papers to us through email. Nazirji, if you don't mind, can I give your email ID?
Yeah, it's fine. Okay.
If you'll see on the screen, Advocate Nazir's name is over there. Okay, Nazir Jagirdar. So the email ID is that itself, NASERGIRDAR@gmail.com. All right, Nazir Jagirdar @gmail.com. So please use this email ID, send it to him, scan copy. All right. And once he has sufficient number of such orders, definitely he'll revert back to you through email or otherwise in some way or the other that we are taking up the matter with higher authority, because only when we are able to convince the higher authority, maybe Information Commission, maybe Governor, maybe Chief Minister, maybe the courts, then only if you have plenty of such orders, only then we'll be able to get some change done. Here, one or two cases, if we say, they'll say that, oh, that's not sufficient. I mean, it happens, and those are the discretionary powers, and what not excuses they'll find, and we will land up back to the square one. So please do that if you all feel that orders are not proper, non-adherence has taken place, deliberate or gross violation has occurred of RTI Act. Please revert back to Advocate Nazirji through that email ID which I've said, nazirjagirdar@gmail.com. Okay, we'll try to do something about it. Now, other things, some few announcements for the benefit of everyone. There are our old members also over here, and there it's on the screen. Just see on the screen, Advocate Nazir's Gmail ID has been given over there. Now, just to wind up, a few background things, a few future webinars I would like to tell everyone about the future webinars. On Thursday, coming Thursday, that is 1st July, we have a webinar planned by an expert on corporators funds. Okay, corporators get discretionary funds, area development funds from the government, which they don't get in cash, but then they have the power to use it where in their constituency for the well-being of in the larger interest of the citizens. So how these funds are allocated, how they are used, all those information about our corporators funds will be given by Mr. Anand Bhandare. He has done deep research upon this thing, and he'll explain to us how this thing is done. We can learn from them, and of course file our RTIs or take our corporators to task for how our funds are either siphoned off or used in an improper manner or whatever. So that is there at 7 p.m. on 1st July, that is coming Thursday. All right, so please make a note of this, and in future two more are on the two more webinars are in the pipeline. One is on CRPC 197 195, that is about taking our public servants to task, prosecuting our public servants who don't adhere to the RTI Act, or sorry, don't adhere to the law, and what you say, indulge in corruption or anything like that. So that's one in the pipeline, and second one is on how builders cheat the flat buyers and the disputes that arise, and how flat buyers can take the builders to task and make them accountable. All right, so these two are in the pipeline. The dates are not finalized yet, but we'll let you know about that as time goes by. You all wish to be a part of petition group, or do visit our website www.petitiongroup.com. Please see on the screen, Mr. Neeraj has given it, petitiongroup.com. Please go on that, fill up the form. There is a feedback form also, and there is a membership form also. So you do fill up over there, and we'll revert back to you to the as soon as possible. Now, all right. So that covers almost everything that we had to say. Keep in touch. Let's meet on coming Thursday for another webinar, as I said, on corporatist funds. Thank you, Nazirji. Thank you very much. And thank you, Nazirji, for conducting our this thing, doing the admin of our today's webinar. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Let's keep in touch.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Jagirdar ji. Thank you, Goraji.
Yes, Suresh.